Hello, hello, hello. Hi, my name is Lauren Brenai, and I have a 400-hour semi goal, and I do various challenges and behind the scenes videos in The Sims to help me reach that 400-hour semi goal. So, what you'll see at the beginning of this clip is the rest of the living room, but not really. It's more of a backyard foyer. I don't know what to call this, but it's cute and it leads out to the backyard. And the guest bathroom is the little box behind it. And you'll see me add some more animal things in this first part. And then we move on into the kitchen, which, it's my favorite kitchen to date. I love it because it feels more like the downstairs is for everybody, I like it because the kitchen kind of turns into like a personal nook. Like, you can tell that it's more of an intimate area when there are less people there versus the living room, which is large and expansive and can fit more people. The kitchen and its corresponding dining room, I guess you'll call it, is more of a intimate spot. So when it's Bao and his daughter and maybe a few of his siblings, not all the kids, not the whole family over, or maybe it's Bao and his future love interest or whatever, but it just felt very cute and quaint, and it's one of my favorite kitchen / dining rooms. And I feel like the more I do this, the more often I'm going to be like, well, this one's my favorite. This one's, So it'll be interesting to see how it evolves over time. I had a lot of fun. I was going for a blue kitchen because, again, Bao loves his baby and his baby's favorite color is blue. So I was going for a bluish kitchen or a variation of blue. And I wanted the kitchen play set, like the one that the toddlers can play on. I wanted it to match the kitchen, so it kind of started to set the tone, and then I just played with it a little bit more because I was more concerned with the aesthetic than trying to match the kitchen set verbatim, and that was probably after 2 hours of actually being engaged. I changed the floors a lot because I wanted it to be a pretty flow through and a consistent flow through at the bottom. Like I said, it was kind of like a renovated home where he kept the essentials, like the authentic hardwoods and the authentic brick, and then just expanded and knocked down walls of like the interior. So that was kind of the vibe I was going for. So I wanted all the floor to flow through all the way. Very, very much in love. Very, very much in love with this kitchen and dining room combination, and it's beautiful. So let's get back into the cards. We are now on to the 5th category. Depending on how this one works, this category is called If You Could. We're reading from the Best Self Icebreaker Starter Pack card box. These are where the questions are coming from. This category is If You Could. I feel like if you could, maybe like, this would you rather? So we won't worry about it. But depending on how brief of a response I do for If You Could, I'll do 2 of the cards today. So pulling out of the center of this box, that is not the right category. Let's go for green here, guys. Get it together right out the middle. Oh, wow. This is a perfect question for me. This one says, if you could never work again, how would you spend your time? My lifelong goal is to never work again. And I do not mean that metaphorically. I mean, I would like for my income to be based off of things that I enjoy. I would like for my way of life to be based on things that are fulfilling to me. So if I never needed to work again, what would I fill my time doing? 1, I will be a polyglot. I would have all the language teachers I could possibly find. I would be very much engulfed in languages. I most likely would travel the world. I would probably be in a different country every year, every month. I would be traveling, predominantly learning the languages of the culture, learning their native foods, learning how to cook their native foods, because I need to learn how to cook in general. So I would spend my time indulging in other cultures and learning various dances, various different music instruments. I would probably pick up a bunch of hobbies and crafts. I would spend my time being creative. And that's actually like a goal of mine, is for my existence to be a creative existence where I move, I think, I breathe creativity all the time, and it feeds me literally. I want my creativity to be how I exist freely in the world. And I love learning. I've always loved learning. So I would want to continue learning. And I also like sharing information and teaching. So I'd probably be teaching or spending time around people I could learn from, and us exchanging information and ideas and perspectives. I think existing is a very interesting experience. I think existing is a very interesting experience, and there are so many perspectives on the proper way to exist. And I would like not necessarily to indulge in all of them, but to be able to broaden my perspective of what life should be, so that I can feel better about the life that I'm living. Because I feel like people have this thing where they say that needing external validation is faulty and insecure. And I agree to some aspects. I do believe that if your value is centered around other people's validation, other people's confirmation of who you are, then you'll never truly know happiness, because you're too worried about how other people feel about you. But I also think that there is nothing wrong with wanting validation or feedback or confirmation for what you know. I feel like if I think that I'm doing an impeccable job, if I think that my film is incredible, it is nothing wrong with me wanting other people to agree with me. I think it's natural that we want people to agree with us, or we want people to say, no, you're not wrong, you actually have good taste, you know? That's why we're social. I think we like exchanging ideas, and I think people exist for people. I don't think that you can exist in a vacuum. I think that everybody has somebody. Well, I think everybody needs at least one somebody. I can't say that everyone has somebody, but I hope that people who don't have people have themselves, have access to community, have access to kindred spirits, even if they don't have people that they fully can divest all their deepest feelings and things into. I hope that people know how to share it in a way that makes them feel loved and secure, even if that's anonymously, because sometimes anonymity, beautiful word, makes it more comfortable. So I would spend the rest of my life traveling and learning languages and getting good at things that I enjoy, like dancing and singing and writing. Please definitely let me know, what would you spend the rest of your life doing if you didn't need to work? I would definitely spend time resting too. I think I owe myself an emotional, physical, mental, it's just a break where I'm not worried about things, where I'm not planning, and where I'm not overly concerned with survival. I think the first year of not having to work, I would just do nothing. Oh, maybe not a year, because I don't like being bored. But I would probably do nothing for a month, guilt-free, because guilt-free nothing is different from nothing, where you're like, oh, I should be doing something. Please, I need to be doing something. I think I would learn to appreciate the art of doing nothing, and letting myself do nothing, and letting myself be. So what you just saw was me trying to match the kitchen to the color of the little kitchen, the taller kitchen, and realizing that the taller kitchen is going to have to change, because I'm not having it. Because the taller kitchen was blue like I would want it to be, because that's the babe's favorite color, but I wasn't going to sacrifice the kitchen color for the taller in this instance, which I think was a great call on my end, because it was frustrating me. But again, this build did take me 10 hours to do for the whole house. because I started paying attention to details and I started trying to add personality in the builds. So it was a very fun experience for me to do this. What else is happening in here? I tried to create a bar, like a eat-in bar kind of thing. So shout out to the half walls, because it felt weird just having the table there with no half wall situation. And this was me again imagining that this whole room was the original room, and then things were knocked down. So maybe this was the original kitchen, and Bao knocked down the walls and extended this into a dining room and made the back kitchen the addition. I was trying to make some really like cool communal sitting area here, where if Bao did want to have a large group in here, he could. And I settled on, in a good way, on having an actual, like, if you walked into your office and if you walked into an office or something and you're waiting for an appointment, kind of lounge space versus a formal dining space. And I thought that was a good call. Again, I like decorated like little small bits and pieces with things that maybe his daughter could have made for him that he was proud of and he wanted to use. So you'll see calendars and candles that are kind of kidsy, but I think that they still complement the space. We know how I feel about rugs. But I'm actually very curious and interested in seeing what you guys say about what you would do if you didn't have to work. I feel like that's one of those good questions for people who are like exploring career changes and trying to steps outside of what they're supposed to do and do what they actually enjoy doing. I feel like that's a very good question of what is it that you want to spend the rest of your life doing? What is it that you actually enjoy? Because I've been thinking about living my life as though I'm already retired. I don't want to wait till I'm retired to live the life that I dream of. I want to live the life that I dream of and let work be background noise and let my life be my life. So finding that work-life balance, trying to figure out what actually would get me up in the morning, outside of worrying about eating and having bills and things like that. It makes me think of one of my favorite books of all time, which I probably have talked about in other versions of this, but The Alchemist is one of the greatest books I've ever read. It's a beautiful read. It's a short read. It's a quick read, but it is an enlightening read, and I recommend it to everybody. It's one of the books I tried to read in Spanish and Korean, and it's a different kind of world. The Spanish one is a little bit easier, but there are some languages that are context driven and you have to be a part of the culture to get the nuances, and there are other languages that are verbatim. I don't say verbatim, but more explanatory, like you can say sit down which is sit down, that's what they want you to do, but in another language it may sound more like poetry. Place your bottom upon thine, you know what I mean, like, which is why I enjoy languages, is learning. It helps me learn how the culture thinks. But yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this kitchen living room combination. I'm obsessed. Eat you some food, drink you some water, and may love and light guide you always, y'all. I'll let y'all in the next one. Bye.